Okay, everyone, we are 24 hours away from the deadline. Arsenal have 24 more hours to do the business they want to do and get the players that they want in to go and challenge Manchester City. We, of course, had the Champions League draw. We're going to discuss that as well. And we're going to try and make sense of what Arsenal are planning in these final 24 hours. This is it. This is the end game. This is the last chance for Arsenal to go do the business. That, like I said, will hopefully catch Man City. And, of course, we're talking about adding a forward. While this is all going on, we've had the Neto stuff pop up. Not Pedro Neto, Bournemouth's goalkeeper Neto, who's seen as an alternative to Johan Garcia, who we talked about for most of the summer, and shock, Espanyol want his release clause with a day to go. I don't know why anyone's particularly surprised about that. And I've got to say, I actually don't think it's particularly clever planning from Arsenal. But actually, dare I say, having Neto as a backup, I don't know much about Neto. I will do some research on him tomorrow, of course. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this. About this potential transfer. But it seems more sensible getting a player like that on loan who's Premier League experience, was at Barcelona before, and him being the number 2 to Raya, rather than going all out for a £25 million goalkeeper in Jan Garcia. But I was excited about Garcia because I think there's real potential there. Like I said, we're going to talk about the Champions League draw as well. I was live on AFTV. We've had a chance to just sort of settle, take it all in, and we're just going to discuss that in a bit more detail. But I want you all to really help me kind of move the show along. And what I mean by that is send in your comments, send in your thoughts. I want to know how you're all feeling about the transfer window, how you're all feeling with 24 hours to go. Ivan Toney, Raheem Sterling, do we hit the red button and go for a player like, well, one of them? Kingsley Coman's been offered to us. Who else are potentially on the market that we don't realise? What else is bubbling away in the background? Because this Neto stuff, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, that came out of nowhere. There was no report saying that we had him lined up as a backup. And when I saw the original report, I thought, oh, that might be our number 3 sorted because of, kind of mirrors Dan Bentley, but he's probably better than Dan Bentley. And as a number 2, that might make a bit of sense when you're developing a young Tommy Setford as well. So all these things to think about. We've even got the Sam Little stuff, the goalkeeper at Wigan who won their player of the year. Just loads going on. But it's loads of cloud stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just stuff that's just there. This could happen and that could happen. And that. We want something tangible in our hands that we're like, bam, that's the player that's come in. And of course, we want to afford to be a part of that. While I'm going to be doing a lot of this, and you're going to have to be really patient with me. I'm going to be just refreshing Twitter because we are still in those hours where kind of anything can happen out of anywhere. And I'm just keeping an eye to make sure there's no updates since no, it doesn't look like it. Let's see the last thing. Yeah, so it was ZRAFC who said that. In fact, let's try share this. Go on, let's try share this. We can make sense of it all. Apologies all. Give me 1 second while I get my share my screen. I was having slight internet problems, so I wasn't going to share my screen, but I think actually I may as well do it now. Share screen. Window. Right. Okay. Right, you can all see that, yeah. So Samsey has been very good with transfer stuff, especially on our goalkeeper front, actually. Clearly part of United stand. They said that Arsenal's interest in Neto is true and concrete. I've got a window open, right? So there's a fly who's just flying around. I've had this for the last few days. Really annoying. Samsey says Arsenal interest in Neto is true and concrete. Arsenal want a cheap deal. Hope we strike agreement in the next hours. I mean, this is happening right now. Forest are also interested. Alex Crick said that Arsenal in talks with Bournemouth over a loan move for goalkeeper Neto. Gunner Blog says that, and he actually wrote the news, Gunner Blog, that Arsenal are exploring a move for Bournemouth goalkeeper Neto as Johan Garcia talks hit impasse. Look, who's that surprised that, again, we don't want to pay 25 million for a goalkeeper who's going to be a backup, and Espanyol don't. I didn't even do the thumbs up. And Espanyol don't want to lose the player who got man of the match for them against Atletico Madrid literally yesterday, who's 22 years old, has real potential, and who they can't replace. How do you replace Johan Garcia? In what they got? 23 hours and 54 minutes. They're just not going to do that. So I'm not massively surprised, but I'm impressed that we've kind of had the backup kind of ready to go. In fact, some reports saying we're not even going to let Aaron Ramsdale sort of sign his deal with Southampton until we've got this secured. Now, remind me, people. Actually, don't remind me. Let's do some research. Was he Bournemouth's number 1 this season? So they just played Newcastle, right? Big game. You'd expect. Yeah, right, he is. So he started for Newcastle. This is so fascinating Are you? And I'm aware we're a massive club, right? And I know that Bournemouth to Arsenal is obviously a big step. It might be a big moment in his career, but he might get to play some Champions League football. But is it a better career choice to go from playing regular Premier League football to being a number two at Arsenal? I mean, maybe some of you say, look, he'll probably play the cup games. He might get some games in the Champions League. And I hear all that. Like that. Yeah. And you get to play for Arteta. Maybe there's an injury to Rye. You get some minutes in the Premier League as Arsenal's number one. All these things, right? Well, I understand the reasons why you'd want to join Arsenal beyond the fact that it's Arsenal. But it's interesting that Neto would be massively up for this. I mean, he's also quite comfortable. He's playing for a really good team. And Tony Areola, would have similar expectations of his goalkeeper playing out the back and, very much on that school of thought that Arteta's from when it comes to his football coaching. I don't know. I imagine life at Bournemouth's great, right? You live in a great part of the country and you're playing Premier League football. There's no danger of them going down. They've got a really good team. So I'm surprised that he'd massively want this move, if I'm honest. But not totally surprised. But I hope you get what I'm saying. Yeah, let's get your thoughts on all that, actually. This is why I love going live on things like this, and I've had time to prep, and you can all fill my brain with the things I'm missing. Lexus, you're right. They've signed Kepa. You're so right. You're so right. The Kepa competition. Yeah, thank you. That answers everything. So I'm gonna have to cut out that last 2-3 minutes because I was just absolutely waffling. They've signed Kepa, so yeah, they don't need him. There you go. Thank you to everyone who's reminded me of that. And this is why I should have the comments open while I ramble. But I also like to just get my thoughts out and then come back to it. So that was probably a complete waste of time for all of you. Anyway, apologies, guys. We're into that last 24 hours. It's at 11 p.m. I'm just trying to gather all my thoughts. Great question here from DJ 064. You're right. Okay, let's go one at a time. Can Neto start up front? Well, the Wolves Neto probably could have. And yes, literally, you're absolutely spot. This is why you read the comments as you go along. Okay, right. The comments are going to stay there. Even though I can find them distracting, I'm going to keep them up in case I catch you not teaching me something. So, okay, that's the goalkeeper situation. Neto probably coming in to be our number two. They've got Kepa, as you've all mentioned. Is Kepa definitely better? Maybe, but yeah, it's worth asking. So what else has kind of rattled on throughout the day? Well, we've been offered Kingsley Coman by Bayern Munich. We've been offered Raheem Sterling by Chelsea. And then loads of rumours about Ivan Toney, which are fascinating. It seems like Robbie's sources are quite good, eh? Robbie was saying his sources told him when he was on AFTV that like there was something in this Toney thing potentially. If you want the full breakdown, go watch the exclusive he dropped on AFTV, I think yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I think yesterday. So those are the three that are bubbling at the moment. This Neto thing makes me think there's just more in the background we don't know about. I was listening to a Twitter space. I was actually contributing, big up FK Latte Firm, who were hosting the space, and Jeff Arsenal was on. And look, he didn't make a big song and dance of it at all, but he just said, look, Arsenal are working in the deal to try and sign a player. I think he might have hinted it was a striker. So you'll all have heard that if you're listening to the space. And Arsenal have got no doubt of trying to do something in the background. I've got no doubt they're trying. So the question is, what is the deal that appeals to them? What would be willing to do? How kind of low down that list of targets do we go? Because I imagine Toney, Sterling, Coman weren't right up there. I imagine it was Isak, Nico Williams, Kudus, Rashford, and then you're going to maybe the Rafinhas of this world, and then there's kind of like Sterling, Coman, because you got to think about wages, you've got to think about playing time, you've got to think about where they want to come, you've got to think about how they fit into the squad, all these things, and their age profile might not be exactly what we want, all these things. So we're left with Sterling and we're left with Coman and Toney at the moment for what we know at the moment. Let's talk about those three. I mean, I'm not going to do justice to this particular conversation like Ben and George did so brilliantly on the podcast with Sharoy and I yesterday. They on the Goonerverse podcast said, look, like they broke it down so well. They said Coman, like a younger, fit Kingsley Coman, is exactly the winger Arsenal need, but his injury record's horrendous. I'm going to show it to you. Let's Kingsley Coman injury record. There it is. This is staggering. I mean, I heard it and I went, yeah, okay, but like he's not going to play that often. No. This is a problem. Wait for me. Oh man, I shouldn't have got rid of that. Tab, okay. Look at this. 23, 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 injuries last season from September all the way to April. Muscular problems, 3 days. Torn muscle fiber, 20 days. Knee medial ligament tear, 50 days. He missed 2 months of the season. Muscular problems, another 4 days. Abductor injury, 48 days. Let's go to the season before that, 22-23. We had 2 injuries. A knock that kept him out 5 days, but another torn muscle fiber that kept him out for 2 months of the season. Go to the 21-22 season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next page. 8. 8 injuries in the 21-22 season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in the 2021 season. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in the 1920 season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in the 18. You get my point. This is an extraordinary record. Here we go. I was just rattling all that when I could have just looked at this table. But I mean, maybe got a chance to sort of see the details around those. Look at this. Do you know what? Here we go. I don't normally do this, but let's make it even bigger for you. Like, take that in. I mean, these are extraordinary injury numbers. I feel really sorry for him. I feel really sorry for him because this is a player whose physicality has been a part of why he's so good. That turn of pace, that blistering kind of, head down, drop of the shoulder, gone. Like, Coman was one of my favorite wingers to watch when he was kind of in his prime. He scored a goal in the Champions League final for Bayern Munich. And look, if it's him over nobody, yes, I'd roll the dice on us getting his quality for at least most of the season and him being not a regular starter, so that he's available for man. Yes, I'd roll the dice. But my word, and look, Kamal, I hear you, right? I'm still taking him over Sterling. I'm not. I'm taking Sterling. This is a real injury record, really bad. It's better than no signing, but dare I say, don't expect him to play much football. It's extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. And I think we need to let me stop sharing that. I think we need to keep that in mind with players like Kingsley Coman. Now with Sterling and Toney, it's different. I'll get onto them, but on Kingsley Coman, that's where I am. That injury record is bad, and I don't really see, unless we've exhausted every other option. I don't see how we can. What's the word? Not accept it, but you get what I mean. Justify. I don't think we can justify it. With Sterling, you're probably looking at slightly similar wages, but there's just so many more pros. I mean, okay, let's give Coman a particular pro, right? Maybe a better player than Sterling when both at their best. Maybe. I don't know. And also, we haven't seen Sterling at his best for a while. But what does Sterling have? What's in his camp? What's in his list of pros? I keep hiccuping. I'm so sorry. He's worked with Arteta before. They love working with each other. Arteta's recent words on Sterling were brilliant. Kevin De Bruyne's recent words on Sterling was brilliant. You're getting a experienced player who's won titles, who knows what it takes, who's scored big goals, played in big games, who has worked with this coach before, who I think would fit perfectly on the right and the left, who maybe, people say he's lost that pace. I don't know if he has massively. Is he as fast as he was at 23? Maybe not, but he's still very, very quick. Nothing I see from his game suggests that he's suddenly a slow player. And I think he could do really well. Remember for Liverpool, he played, I think Ryan made a great point on TDK Live. Go watch that as well. They had a great conversation, Alex and Ryan. And Ryan was saying for Liverpool, he was playing behind Sturridge and Suarez, playing a slightly more creative role with Coutinho. Again, can you see that version of Sterling come out a little bit? So I would do the deal if it's no one else, if it's nothing at all that's coming in. But the issue we got with the Sterling deal is I think we're trying to be on the right end of what happened with that Aubameyang style deal that got him to Barcelona. Two clubs that are trying to force their players out. Arsenal with Aubameyang, Chelsea with Raheem Sterling. Arsenal eventually just cut the contract to get rid of him, and he ended up signing for Barcelona. They then sold him for 12 million for Chelsea, which that hurt, right? But what you then saw was Arsenal, I think, feeling a little bit like, well, they were kind of backed into a corner. They had to let him go. They had to ultimately just get it done on deadline day. I think we're hoping, reportedly, the according to the ITKs, that Sterling and Chelsea have a similar thing. That Chelsea just go, well, we want Jadon Sancho and we want Osimhen. So fine, we'll just do the deal. We've ripped your squad number now. We don't really want you in the building. We'll just tear the contract up, let you go, make room in the squad for then Jadon Sancho to come in. I think we're hoping for that, and I think those are the terms which we do the deal. Now, according to quite a few ITKs, but mainly Team News and Tix, has said that we have been offered him, and we've actually offered a salary that he would be willing to take. So I think it would be a cut price deal, but we just need the contract situation to be ironed out between Sterling and Chelsea. And that isn't easy to do. Like, he's owed a lot of money, I think. I mean, the big contracts they signed, blah, blah. I think he's on good money. They would need to sort all that out before, he could sort of sign on the dotted line for Arsenal. I also wonder whether, if it's a case of cutting a contract, can that be done after the deadline? Could Arsenal spend all of tomorrow trying to get another player, and then after deadline day, Chelsea just rip up his contract and then he's free to sign? I mean, that's possible. I don't know what would stop that, unless you guys know of any rules that I've missed. Yeah. I mean, this is interesting as well. Here we go. Is this true? Felix says, Fabrizio says that Chelsea just submitted a bid for Osimhen. I did a video a while back saying it was Osimhen, that obvious that Osimhen was going to go to Chelsea. I'm surprised they've taken this long, because they ultimately always spend the money anyway. So I don't know why they spent so long, actually getting it done. But yeah, that's interesting. Let me see what else is going on. Wait there. Let me see what this Fabrizio Romano update says. Apologies, everyone. Fabrizio. Nothing. Oh, I haven't updated it. Let me have a little look. Yeah, okay, yeah. 3 minutes ago, Chelsea have approached Napoli tonight to submit an official bid for Victor Osimhen, loan with obligation to buy. Meanwhile, Chelsea discussed salary terms with Victor. Al Ahly are at final stages of talks with Napoli, but deal only happens if Chelsea deal collapse. Chelsea getting Osimhen, aren't they? Like, let's be real, right? Chelsea going to get him. And I just thought that for a while. Why can't we roll the dice on Osimhen? If I'm sat here saying I'm willing to roll the dice on, Raheem Sterling, Kingsley Coman, Ivan Toney, we'll get to the Toney talk in a sec. Why would I not say I'd roll the dice on Osimhen? George swears by him. And a lot of people are like, yeah, go do that deal. I don't know. And Razor, this is, I don't know if I'd say like it's crazy that we never entered the race, but it does feel really strange. What is it about him that we don't want to? Why don't we want to go near this deal? I don't understand it. What am I missing? I'm a bit of a casual outside the Premier League, so what am I missing? That would tell you, yeah, we're right not to go for Victor Osimhen. Really strange. Really, really, really strange. I mean, I wonder if we do last minute. I wonder if we try hijack it. Probably not. Yeah, I would roll the dice on Osimhen. And then we go on to the Ivan Toney links. And again, I mean, we did a poll on AFTV, and 78% of people, drop names in the comments, I'd love to know. 78% of people who are watching the AFTV stream said that they would have Toney over Sterling, which I thought was so interesting, because what's that based on? The need for a striker. But Raheem Sterling is a better Premier League goal scorer than Ivan Toney's ever been. Like, Raheem Sterling is a phenomenal goal scorer in the Premier League was at his heights in his prime. He can play right and left, so it doesn't like stronghold him into one position. There is a potential to play him in various positions depending on the form of others. So you probably get a little bit more value in that sense. And at his peak, Raheem Sterling's a better player than Ivan Toney's ever been. And he's going to be coming back to, if we get him, he'd be coming back to working with the coach, who's now manager of Arsenal, that he played his best football with. So I'm surprised that people are so in favour of Toney over Sterling. What I do think is that there are certain games where Toney's going to win us those games. The games we had problems with last year, I think Toney gives us more solutions than Sterling does, personally. So that's where the temptation is. And then there are all these rumours that Arteta and Toney didn't get along, or he didn't like his attitude or something. But I mean, what does that mean? We walked away going, I hate the guy. He's not a serial killer, is he? He's just a bloke who's maybe a bit confident and, just a bit maybe a little more up himself than Arteta would love, but maybe that's the kind of arrogance we need to go to certain places to get this Premier League title over the line. Maybe all that's a part of it too. So, yeah, look, I've waffled on for 20 minutes about Neto, Toney, Sterling, Coman, because those are the big stories of the day. Johan Garcia too. That's kind of where we are with everything. I'll get to your super chats now. But I don't. I mean, this is a good point from SW96. Tony has disrespected Brentford at every opportunity. Arteta wouldn't touch him. Sure, but he's still loved by Thomas Frank, right? He's still loved by a lot of the players, I think, at Brentford. So there's clearly something about him. Like, he gets on really well with Declan Rice, like, Gareth Southgate, who really is a stickler for, like, the culture around the team, the personalities. He went for Ivan Toney. So, he's clearly not the worst person ever. Maybe Arsenal could justify doing that. This is going to get interesting. Let me just make a quick prediction before we go into the Champions League talk ahead of tomorrow. I think Arsenal will do something. I think Arsenal will. I think the movement for certain players today makes me think that they are looking to do something. I think it will be quite underwhelming, whoever it is. I don't think we're going to pull out an Osimhen or a Nico Williams or a Rafinha or something like that. So I think brace yourself for something that's a little bit like, okay, well, it's better than nothing. I also think that there might be a name or two that pop up tomorrow that we weren't expecting. I think there's a chance that that a player is mentioned that we're linked with, or that we supposedly made a bid for, that we didn't even really think we were potentially in for. I think that's possible. I mean, it could be Adingra. Like, what's happened with the Adingra links? Good question. I don't know. It could be someone like that. It could be Mitoma. I'm just making up names, right? So we'll see. I think something random will come up a bit tomorrow, but we'll see. And I just feel, Bakayoko, Wesley's mentioning, something like that. Something that didn't really come up today, but it's kind of like now. Yeah, but tomorrow we'll go, oh, okay, fair enough. And then they might seem like the top target. I don't know. It's so difficult to predict. There's every chance, people, and I do want to just temper expectation, right? There's every chance that tomorrow goes the way that the January 2022 window went. Was it 2022? Yeah, it was. Where we let Aubameyang go and we thought, there's no way we're leaving ourselves short. And that's exactly what we did. Lacazette didn't fill the boots, and Eddie came in a bit too late and still wasn't quite enough. And we missed out on top four. More often than not, when we go into a season feeling like, oh, we were one player short, we just needed this, or we just needed that, we're more often than not kind of right. When have Arsenal undersold let's say underdone the business in the transfer window, and we've all come away going, "Oh, fair play, you're spot on." Maybe the season 22-23 when we challenged for the title and didn't expect it, we did far better in the league than we expected. But last season we were expecting to challenge. We did that and we felt just quite sure. And what we were talking about, box efficiency, X factor, difference maker, and we haven't addressed that yet. These are words coming from the club, right? Or at least people who are well sourced within the club, and we haven't addressed that yet, which is why my expectation is that we absolutely do. Arteta said, "Don't be satisfied. Want more, demand more. We will get it." And we should be demanding more. That doesn't mean throw your toys out the pram if we don't get that player, because it's all about the 3 points and then the next 3 points and the next 3 points. We could sign no one and win the title, and no one's lifting that title going, yeah, but it's a shame we didn't do it with the new player. You won't care because you won the title. But we know that this particular player, even if it is someone who just adds squad depth, can help and can make a difference and give us something a little bit different, a little bit more unpredictable going into the rest of the season, or at least up to January. And I just think it'd be such a shame if we don't do it. So let's see. But I've still got Kingsley Coman's record up here. It's just so poor. Let me just have a quick look to see if there have been any updates since I've been going on and on. I can't really see any. So let's talk Champions League, and we'll get your comments and super chats in as well. Ben Mattinson, hope you're well, my friend. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Says, don't worry about our winger James. We're finally signing Neto. Oh, I know. What we like, okay? Ian, prediction only Garcia arrives. Well, mate, it's not even Garcia. It's Neto now. And yes, Chelsea are going for Sancho. Let me get your super chats in. Big thank you. Super appreciated. Cesar says, James, do you think Tony knew Mikel had issues with his character before media reported? But did he? as well. Like, let me put this out there, right? Mikel Arteta, the master at shutting down leagues, what are the chances that he basically said, "Oh, let's get it out there that we don't really like Tony's character and that we're not as interested, and maybe his value will plummet." Clubs where that I don't know. Clubs are always plotting. Who knows? That might sound crazy, but that's I don't know. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? So who knows, what like journalists or whatever's come out and said. I know the ITKs. I put stock in ITKs to be fair, but I don't know a journalist that's come out and said, yeah, the reason Arsenal are going for Tony is because Arteta's not sold on his like character and personality. And if someone has said that, then tell me. I've missed it. I'm sorry. Suj, a big thank you for supporting not just my content, but so many people's content. I really appreciate it. And yeah, hit the likes and subscribes if you want more of this kind of content, people. A couple more minutes to go of the stream. KD says, Sterling situation unexpected due to manager. Does that mean we didn't have a proper target and wasn't ready to get anyone? It's baffling. KD, I mean, look, maybe we tried all the way till the end for Nico Williams. That will probably be the PR spin. I've got no idea. For whatever it is, it's disappointing because people talk about this window. I'm talking about previous windows as well, where we missed out on a Kudus, we missed out on a Pedro Neto, and it feels a little unforgivable that we've let all these players just go when we knew we had an interest in them. Right, let's just quickly touch in on this because I did say I'd quickly react to it. I mean, I react to it mainly on AFTV, but this is the Champions League draw, as you can see. PSG at home, Inter away, Shakhtar at home, Atalanta away, Dinamo Zagreb at home, Sporting away, Monaco at home, and Girona away. These are the 8 teams, home and away, that we will be facing in the Champions League. On Saturday, we'll get the exact dates for them. For what it's worth, I actually think we've done quite well at that. Some teams had some very nasty runs. We've come out of that all right. We've avoided the likes of Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. Inter away is going to be difficult, don't get me wrong. But I think there's some ties there. Yes, Atalanta tricky. Yes, Sporting. Listen, these are Champions League sides, right? They'll all be tricky in their own right. But I think we can be largely pretty happy with the way that's all come together. And I have to say, I loved the draw. I really did. I loved the theatre. I loved the way like the teams all came out and the way it was done. I love how these fixtures are looking. I love that we're all kind of facing each other. We're going to get an idea of how Arsenal did away at PSG, but how Man City did at home to PSG. We're going to see how we did away at Sporting and how Liverpool did away at Sporting. Some will overlap, some won't. There's going to be lots of big fixtures around Europe all the time across 8 fascinating game weeks. Yes, it's a lot of football for the players, and I have my concerns on that front. But I actually think it could be a really fun competition. I'm really, really excited for it. I actually think this looks and sounds great. That's the unpopular opinion. But yeah, it's why I think this could be a lot of fun. When I say it's the unpopular opinion, before it was like, why are we doing this? It's just a cheap knockoff Super League anyway, blah, blah, blah. But I think after today and it being explained to people and then seeing the way it kind of all unfolded with the fixtures and the way everyone's kind of fixture list piled up, I think people kind of thought, actually, this could be really fun. But of course, obviously, there's the player concern and all that's part of it too. So we'll see how it impacts teams and players throughout the season. But I like who we've drawn. I can't wait for Inter Milan and Atalanta away. Both will be great. Very near to where my family in Italy lives. So I'm excited to see them and visit them. I was on the phone to them earlier. We'll get out there and I'll try to get out there and take it all in because that would be very, very special in terms of European nights. But the expectation that we absolutely finish in that top 8 and hopefully higher up so we get slightly more favourable draw. Because why not? We can definitely pick up points with that list of fixtures. I've got no doubt about it. I think that's pretty much everything to say about the Champions League draw, people. Yeah, hopefully seeing those fixtures has made Arsenal think, we definitely need one more player. Yeah, guys, I think I'll leave it there. Hope you've all enjoyed the stream. This is just a quick one. 30 minutes on what to expect for tomorrow and where we are with everything today. Neto, advanced talks. Looks like he's going to be the backup to Ramsdale. Sterling, Toney, Coman, all linked today. But is it going to happen? I'm unsure. I think something will happen. I'm just not convinced it's any of those players. If it's one of them, I think it'll be Raheem Sterling. I think Chelsea will be that desperate to get rid of him, especially now they're making moves for Osimhen and they're making moves for Jadon Sancho. But how will Arsenal fans feel about the idea that we're getting Sterling so they can get Osimhen when the feeling is probably that we should be going for Osimhen? But then how much does this remind you of the 2023 2023 January window when we signed Jorginho so they could get Enzo, and we're saying, hold on, one's gone for the World Cup winner, and we've gone for the guy they don't want, who no one's really rated that much in the Premier League anyway. And look how those worked out. Jorginho's brilliant. So it's very hard to know these things. I think system and structure and club culture are massive in all this. And ultimately, I think we can get Raheem Sterling in an environment where he'd be playing some really good football for Arsenal. Finding his best, I don't know, but doing a job for us, certainly. But let's see what else happens. Everyone, hope you enjoyed this. Hit the like button if you did. And yeah, a big thanks for just supporting the channel and getting the latest updates. I'll be live tomorrow at 11 p.m. for sure. But let me just see if things bubble up throughout the day. I'll go live a little bit earlier. And of course, you'll see me on AFTV tomorrow as well. In a bit, people.